Hi everyone and welcome! In this video we are going to make a lunch bag. It's big, it's washable and very easy to make. I am using a fabric paper that is called Snap Pap, but you can very well use any sort of cotton canvas as long as you make it stiffer with fusible on the back. I am also using this beautiful coated cotton fabric full of vegetables, which will be perfect for the inside of the lunch bag. So let's get started. I cut a first piece of heavy fabric. It's 33 centimeters by 46 centimeters. And then I cut two other pieces in a contrasting color. They are 46 by 12 centimeters. Now in my coated fabric, I cut two stripes of fabric in order to make the handles of the lunch bag. The measurements are 70 by 6.5 centimeters. Place the stripes with the wrong side facing you, fold each side at about 1 centimeter from the edge, and then fold it a second time lengthwise. You can use clips instead of pins, this way you won't have any holes in the coated fabric. When it's all pinned, when it is all clipped with the clips, we are going to stitch at about 1 or 2 millimeters from the edges. Be very steady and thorough. Now it is time to stitch both handles to the sides of the lunch bag. I'll start on this side. So at 14 centimeters I make a mark, and I'll do exactly the same on the other side. Then it's quite easy, we are going to place both handles on top of the marks and pin them. You will find in the description box of this video links to every tools and supplies I am using in this tutorial. Now we need to stitch the ends of the handles with a sewing machine. We attach them to the bag at 5 mm from the edges. We need the stitches to be really sturdy, so let's do it. I take out the clip, making sure nothing moves around, and I am making several back and forth stitches at 5 mm from the edge. We repeat that for every end of the handles. The following step is not compulsory. We are going to trace a line at 1 centimeter from the edge. This will make our construction easier. I am using this Japanese ruler which makes adding sewing allowances very easy because it's transparent. So we do the same on the other side, and again you will find links to every tool like this textile pen in the description box below. Now it is time to sew everything together. So we place each side of the big rectangle on top of its corresponding smaller rectangle. We use our tracings as a guide. Using the clips to secure the pieces together, we are then going to make a top stitch at 1 or 2 millimeters from the edge on both sides. So let's do it. When you start, don't forget to hold your threads and make a few securing stitches. And I remind you that you can use whatever fabric you like as long as you make it stiffer with fusible. A few securing stitches and we keep on working. Now we are going to cut two pieces out of the shell on both sides of the big black rectangle. Here is what it's going to look like. Ta-da! I cut out two rectangles, one on each side. The measurements in centimeters are going to appear on the screen now. I recommend you pause the video a while to have a good look at them. Happy cutting! When it's done, we are going to keep cutting, and this time we cut the lining of our bag out of the coated cotton. We use what we already have done as a pattern. Et voilà! Done! The magic of editing a video. Truth be told, it's a lot of work. So let's start working on the lining. I fold it right sides together and I stitch both sides at 1 centimeter from the edge. Steady and even, and when you have stitched both sides, don't forget to open and press your seams. I use a cotton cloth to protect my coated fabric, which allows me to raise the temperature of my iron without burning the fabric. So now have a good look. From 2D we are going to 3D. I open my bag and I assemble the bottom. Use your clips to hold the layers in place and repeat the same operation on the other side. At about 1 centimeter from the edge, we are going to stitch the bottom with our sewing machine. Don't forget to make a securing stitch at the beginning and the end. When the first side is done, stitch the other side, then cut the excess fabric at about 2 to 3 millimeters from the edge. Admire your work. This is the inside of the bag, and everything we have just done with the lining, we are going to do it again with the outer shell. For me, it's going to be quite tricky with my fabric since it's quite sturdy, but in any case, it's really doable. And while I work, I'll leave you in the company of the Wanderer's Trove and its dreamy song, Blossoming Tree. À tout de suite! Voila! We are now going to turn the bag inside out. If you are using a fused cotton fabric, this will be a piece of cake. Now, if like me you are using some sort of washable vegan leather paper, you need to be quite decided and just go for it with a firm hand. It will not tear, but it will wrinkle. So you have two options. You can iron it or, and that's what I prefer, you can opt for this rock and rocky look like an old tanned leather if you'd rather. This will give some welcomed landform to this fabulous grainy fabric. But I am digressing and my clone on the screen is working hard. She has already inserted the lining and she's showing us to stitch all around at 8 millimeters from the edge. How do I know that? Simple. She has aligned the edge of her presser foot with the edge of the fabric. The distance between the needle and the edge of a presser foot is, most of the time, 8 millimeters. That is a really good guide to keep in mind, and it's probably the reason why she must love adding sewing allowances of 8 millimeters. Alright, this split personality is giving me a headache, so let me take back over. I need to regain the control of my own hands. Now, out of cotton fabric, we are going to cut two rectangles of 48 by 46 centimeters. Even though it has the same pattern as the lining, this cotton is not coated. You can use whatever pattern or color you like, it doesn't have to match the lining. It's important to cut two rectangles though and to place them right sides together. I am going to stitch at exactly 1 centimeter from the edge. We stitched the sides that measure 48 centimeters, not 46. Be careful, it's really easy to mix them up. When it's done, we press the seams open and we fold the tube on itself, wrong sides together. So let me do just that. Ta-da! As you can see, I didn't completely fold the tube edge to edge. One of the side is slightly longer by 1.6 centimeters, but it is not compulsory. This will avoid excess thickness, though you'll see why later. Now we are going to make a row of straight stitches at 2 centimeters from the folded edge all around the tube. To do that, have a look at the graduations written on your sewing machine. If there are none, add them with tape. And be careful, don't mistake centimeters for inches and the other way around. Another important point, once you reach the side seams, make a few securing stitches in order to consolidate this place. It's really important, you'll see why later. So same thing on the other side, when you reach the side seam, do a few back and forth stitches. If you wish, you can stitch the edge of the shorter side on top of the other in order to attach both layers together. This will help us construct the bag later. It is not compulsory, but a quick basting stitch with a sewing machine is easily made and easily removed. Now it is time to put the tube on the lunch bag. The folded side should be facing the bottom and the other side will be aligned with the edge of the bag, as you can see on the screen. Be careful, the seams of the tube should be aligned with the seams of the lunch bag. Once again, in this case, I recommend using clips instead of pins to avoid holes in the outer shell fabric. Now we are going to make a stitch at 1 centimeter from the edge. Take your time. If you are using a heavy fabric, it can have a hard time turning around the free arm of your machine. But it is completely doable and you will be very proud of your work. Alright, we are almost there, I promise. Fold the tube on the inside of the lunch bag, stretch it gently and use your clips to hold it in place. Last time at the sewing machine now, we stitch at 1 or 2 millimeters from the edge. Careful, be very diligent, this seam will be visible. And remember, we are working with heavy layers of fabric. So don't forget you have iron hands in velvet gloves. Stick firmly to your fabric and stitch peacefully. Now we're going to insert the strings in the tunnel. We need to unstitch the top of the bag down to the seam. That's the reason why I suggested consolidating the seams there. So pull at both sides of the fabric to make the stitches appear and cut them down to the securing stitches, not more. I use 2 cotton cords of about 1 meter each and I use my easy loop turner to insert them in the tunnel. The link is in the description box, but of course you can also use a safety pin instead. The first cord is going all around and it goes out at the same place it went in. Then we form a knot. With the second cord, we do exactly the same thing, but we start from the other side and, as before, we make a knot. Cherry on the cake, I use cute golden bell stoppers. Voila, dear friends, our lunch bag is finished. We just have to fill it with good things to eat and drink, and believe me, it is very spacious, ideal for gourmet and food lovers. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I really hope that you will give it a go. Bye bye! À bientôt!